Hey guys, it's Team Rocket Draws here with a new video where I'm painting Pokemon cards. So for the first one, I decided to choose Charmander from Evolutions, guys. I would never paint on a base set Charmander just because it would hurt me right here in the heart, just because I grew up with this. But I decided to paint over this Evolutions Charmander, and it's something that I've always wanted to do for quite a while, guys. But I had a few issues as I was doing this, since I didn't have a way or somehow to learn how to do this. I kind of just got the card and just went for it. So one of those things that I learned from was actually the outline of what I wanted to do. So I started using a pencil, but one of the things that I noticed, it was scraping the acrylic paint, since I'm using acrylics, off of the actual card. So I decided to use a Sharpie, since it's more of like a marker and a brush and whatnot. But one of the issues I ran into was that once I started coloring or painting the actual card, it started smudging the outline of the Sharpie. So that's something that for later on I'm not gonna use. So I'll try to figure out something else to use in the future. So I did use the acrylic paints, as I mentioned before, and I just kind of went for it, guys. I didn't really have a good idea of what I wanted to do for the actual background or for the actual card. So I decided to add some water. So I wanted to make it seem like, oh, he's probably gonna go get a drink of water, and as he's walking up or as he's getting a drink of water, he accidentally burned the grass right there, and then you see the flame as well. So I didn't know exactly how I wanted to do the water, so I ended up doing it like this, more like a pond where it's not clear. Something that I wanted to do was add a Pokemon there, but then when I started painting, I realized that I wasn't able to get really sharp details in there. So the brush is a fairly good brush, guys. I really like this. I could use this for watercolor and for acrylics, and it just works overall. But I don't have a detail brush where I could do small details and fine details. But as I was doing this, one of the things that I noticed was that the background, I don't know if you guys can see, but in the horizon there's like a fire there, something that I've never realized on this Charmander. And here on the left side that I'm working on, it's actually smoke from the fire behind, so you can tell where he came from, or other Charmanders in the area or whatnot. And so that's something that I learned from this card, something that I didn't notice. Once I did that, I kind of had to go in and color a little bit of the actual card. I actually wanted to keep it intact the way it was, but I realized that I wasn't able to get those exact colors, so I kind of went over it just so it could match mine. One of those things that I did was in the background, again in the horizon, there's like some mountains there, and I was adding my color, but then I realized it didn't really match the ones from the actual card. So then I just used acrylics and kind of went over it a little bit, not fully, just so it could have the same tone and the same colors as the mountain that I did. As well as in the fire, I added like a yellow and a little bit more red on the actual card just to make it match what I was doing. In the end, I did alter the actual card a little bit, but it was just really small things that you probably wouldn't even notice if I didn't mention before. So then at the end, I wasn't sure how to add those small details and just those small highlights and what I wanted to do. So I went over and I used different markers. I used Sharpies. Once again, they didn't really work since it kind of scrapes the actual paint off of the card. I ended up using my Copic markers in order to actually add and lay down the details on the grass right there, the darker green. And one of the issues that I ran into was actually doing the grass. So if you guys see on the left side next to Charmander's leg, the grass is not detailed, guys, like it was on the actual picture. You can see part of the grass. That's one of those areas that I struggled to do. In the end, I just decided just to leave it like that, and it does look a little bit messy, but I decided to just not work on it more because I felt like I was just gonna ruin it. The more I did, it was gonna make it worse. So that's one of those areas that I wasn't able to fully go into detail and do the way that I wanted to do it, as well as the ones on the right side, the two that are a lot smaller. I couldn't get them the same as the ones that Charmander caught on fire. I think I did a really good job on the rock, even though like now if I go back, I would have probably added different highlights and added a little bit more of the black black there, so I wish I could go back and kind of add these black tones to it as well and make it a little bit better. But one of the areas that I was really happy with was the actual smoke on the left side of the card. Like I really did match the actual color of the smoke from the card, which is kind of surprising. And another thing that I really like was the actual sky. I don't know if you guys saw earlier, but I added a little hint of green, and it just gave like almost the same tone as it did as the card, the sky in the card, which I was really like surprised of. And overall guys, I really like that. At the end I did go over it with like a coat of this spray so the actual paint doesn't come off, and I forgot what it was called guys, but it's like a spray for acrylic paints and other stuff like that that just coats it, and then it kind of just preserves it, I guess, and it also gives a shine to it, something that I've used in my acrylic paintings long ago that I've used, and it just, once again, it prevents the actual paint from scraping off or just any marks on it. So I didn't show that on the actual video right here. I did that later, so it does add a little bit of a gloss to it, which in the end it kind of works out. So yeah guys, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more videos, and I guess I'll just catch you guys on the next one. Team Rocket Draws out.